I think we're calling it Dave. It's just about a robot, artificial intelligence, learning to make friends. He works at a diner, and that's about it.
So the film is basically about this robot named Dave, or the Diner Automaton Vocational Emulator. I'd say just like whatever you think of a stereotypical robot, that's Dave. I feel like throughout the story more characters developed because obviously that's what happens with generative AI like that. So
Max comes in, he's a manager, he finds this robot, and he's kind of trying to fit in and be an employee at the new diner, and just a bunch of mishaps happen along the way. So
it's a sort of play on the state of the world right now with artificial intelligence. We have a robot worker named Dave trying to fit in at a diner, and well, he's not that good of a robot, so he causes some problems for the human diner staff.
The Max, the manager, he feels like indifferent about it. Riley, the dishwasher, kind of thinks it's funny and like jokes with it. Jess, the fry cook, does not like it, is like afraid of it, doesn't trust it. And then Avery, the waitress, like is very fascinated by it.
For me to play this role, who's kind of a bit scared of AI taking over his job, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna play the role if I want to do that.
The workers are kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this, but they end up getting along in the end, and they do a whole bunch of really wonderful and fun things together, and yeah.
A lot of the workers have a hard time like getting used to him, and you know, he's not the best at working.
You know, he's not so good at some things, but he's better at some other things, and they take him out for a night, and they realize that he's not so bad after all.
He gets pretty crazy. He starts, goes partying a little bit, has a bit to drink maybe, plays some cards and stuff, tries to flirt with the jukebox in the microwave.
I was Dave, actually.
You're the robot.
I was, yes.
So have you ever been a robot before?
No, but I find I really relate to robot characters. Personality-wise, I think he's well-meaning. He's trying his best, but, well, his best isn't really what's needed. He doesn't really understand that human component, There's a scene where he, starts rattling off a bunch of facts and they're all true, but that's not what's needed. Because someone said, oh, my burger isn't rare, and then he's like, oh, burgers are not rare, they're actually really common, it's really like nerd correction.
So I was a background actor. I was like a person in the club, and I also was a customer in the diner. And I also directed the one scene that was like a montage of the working that I was describing. And then I also called myself the door boy. There was a door that was supposed to be like an automatic kitchen door, and I made that be automatic.
Art department is new to me. I do a lot of art in my free time, but this is kind of taking it to the next level of using those skills to figure out how to solve different problems, get certain things to trick the viewer, things like that. I helped with the trash explosion. I helped with figuring out how to, make the transition from outside the club to inside the club look natural, even though there were two separate sets, things like that.
Cinematography, lighting, play the bartender. I think I did pretty good for a character with no lines. It's only in there for a minute.
I played the bouncer, and I was also a director. So basically, Riley is kind of messing with the robot and programs him wrong, so he says the wrong thing to a customer, and the customer gets up and leaves because they're mad. And then he goes to another customer who wanted a rare burger, and then the robot just starts talking about burger facts because it doesn't really understand the context of the situation.
My main role was lighting, and then I was an extra in one scene. Lighting, basically just, how to make sure everybody's able to be seen, a lot more of the considerations for, how to make sure, because in the past it's just been throw a light up there and just hope for the best, But
I did a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. I helped with slating, making costumes, making name tags, props, and stuff like that. I learned a lot about teamwork. It took a lot of people to get everything done. I didn't know that there were so many people working together to finish something like this.
I enjoy directing. I think it's fun to kind of make it your own, see your vision come to life is definitely special. The scene I directed is the scene outside of the club before the crew enters the club. They have a little encounter with the bouncer.
It's my first time directing with a big group of people. And how I prepared is I storyboarded it and I kind of just found where I wanted the shots to be. In that scene, it's just the first scene where Max meets Dave, or where they introduce Dave.
I was director, hair and makeup, and I did sound.
I co-directed scene 14 and 15 with Gracie Dukes. Scene 14 is the second to last scene. It's a party montage where all of them, they sneak into the club and basically they're just having a party. They're having a blast, they're having fun.
And 15 is the very last scene. And the scene 15 is basically about how, they finally get to the bar, or they finally get back to the diner after the bar. I was able to talk to the actors and be like, hey, when you say this, make sure you look like this and not just, neutral face, and you can really put the emphasis on what really needs to be done and said in this scene.
So in the bar scene, the crew decides to come in to have a bit of a, just have a time to chill in the bar, and Riley asks Dave a joke. The biggest thing I'm learning about a director is to be careful with usually what you say, is what I'm saying. Because usually if someone didn't get a take right, or if you want a bit more of their performance, you should always say that was good or that was great. And always say what you can improve upon. That's a big thing about being a director.
I directed scene 5.
Oh, tell us about scene 5. What happens in scene 5?
So in scene 5, Riley, one of the workers, he's messing with the robot and saying that he's taking money and food from his kids, and the robot decides that because he can't harm children, he tries to self-destruct.
I was part of the art department, set deck and stuff, helping out costumes and everything like that. I learned there's a lot of work that goes into it. It's it takes a lot of attention to detail to get a set looking just how you want it, and sometimes you got to do some practical effects that are a little goofy to get to look really cool.
So my role was, I was Avery in the film, and then also when I wasn't filming, I guess, I did the slate a few times, and it was really fun. And then I also picked out the outfit that she wore.
So I played Max, who is kind of the slacker manager, kind of trying to keep everything in order, doing his best, and he's the one who discovers Dave, and yeah, a lot of fun. I think Max is kind of in his own world a little bit, trying to just manage the diner.
I directed a scene of the film, scene 7. I was also an actor, one of the main actors, playing the character of Riley. Jess asked if the robot can take out the trash because it's a robot, good for basic labor like that, and the robot, instead of taking it out as it was supposed to, it instead blew it up. Kind of showing how it wasn't exactly the most competent.
I directed a scene that I wasn't in.
What scene number was it?
It was scene number 4.
What happens in that scene?
In that scene, 2 of Dave's co-workers, they discuss about him and they talk about him, and his co-worker Jess believes he's the first step in the robot apocalypse.
I wanted to learn cinematography. I wanted to learn how to direct a scene, which I'm going to soon. And it was interesting and fun.
What scene are you directing today?
Scene 9.
What's it about?
The kids are going to are closing up the diner and are gonna walk out, but they stop and bring Dave with them.
I actually learned a lot. I learned how to work better with groups of people, and I also kind of learned the method that they use when filming, kind of.
I learned that you really have to adapt, because not everything's gonna go the way that you really want it to, and you have to really know how to adapt.
it's all about adapting and working around what's going on just to get what you want to see and get your vision out there.
I learned that I probably will not ever be an actor again, which is totally fine, but I did have a good time with everyone, and I learned that film is what I want to do in the future. Like, it was my confirming factor.
Sound mixing, the sound mixer looked expensive and it looked a lot complicated. I didn't learn the entire structure of how it works, but I learned the basic parts of like amplifying the microphone and recording and stopping.
I learned like so much. I had a lot of fun. For me, I've always found lighting and camera interesting, which is what I worked on for the most part, but I admittedly never really got it that much. Like, I've had camera experience, I've had minor lighting experience, but I kind of wanted to understand that more. I kind of understood like the motives behind the lighting. You know, Caleb, the lighting designer, kind of walked me through everything when it was the night scene, like how we were gonna make it look cooler, how we're gonna make the moonlight through the party windows, or how are we gonna do this, or if there's a shadow and what we can do to combat that. And I finally think that I get it.
I have done a couple short films, but definitely like behind the scenes for sure. You know, if you're starting off, if you're not, you really will learn a lot, and they throw you in there, and it's good exposure, it really is.
A lot of waiting. I also learned some good terminology on like dead set, striking points. Just like I also learned a lot more how like a typical workday like flows in terms of like what happens, what needs to happen, what each person does.
This film camp is something I've looked forward to for the past 2 years. I wish I could do it again next year, but I'll be in college. So it was definitely a great way to kind of get my foot in the door and learn a lot about movie making.
Really learned a lot about sound, lighting, and cinematography as well, and writing screenplays and its format and how to, you know, put it together. Overall, I really enjoyed the experience.
Just being around all the sets and the equipment and stuff, and all the whole production just in general, it's really impressive.
Meeting new people that have the same common interests. It doesn't matter where they're from, their background, it's just you all have one interest, and you can find people that you'll talk to for years here.
I got to meet so many different new people that I wouldn't have met if I didn't do this camp.
I really liked it. It was really fun. I made some new friends that I can't wait to make a short film with or just hang out in general.
We all have the same passion, and that we all have this desired goal and like dream almost to pursue. And I really like that.
I guess we got close, but I feel like we were using professional equipment and professional like etiquette and all the things you would actually do in the real world, which was like very helpful, and I really enjoyed overall.
But seeing it all come together, starting from like an idea and then seeing a final product slowly assemble itself.
You learn a lot in a very short amount of time. Very, very quick, but also very effective too. I'm amazed I were able to do something of what we did in just a week with, 2 days of prep time? Yeah. It's amazing.
I just recommend anybody who's trying to get into filmmaking and trying to, even if it's just the smallest thing, sound, light, set design, you really will learn a lot.
I recommend it. It's really good.
It ended up being a lot of fun both years. Would definitely recommend.
I had a blast, and I really want to come to this school now.
We have destruction of